Well, I hope everybody was able to enjoy their Thanksgiving holiday if they're American, and if they're like Canadian or something, you were able to do whatever you do on a day like Thursday or Friday, doing your Black Friday shopping or whatever. I'm sure all of you are trying to recover from pretending like the Thanksgiving meal that you had was so great and so awesome. Don't lie to yourselves. The food is largely crap. Oh, but no. The turkey you had probably sucked. The green bean casserole, you can shove that where the sun don't shine. Your potato salad, your everything else. Your stuffing. Yeah. Oh, it looks like crap because it is crap. And don't even get me started on the mac and cheese. Oh my God, Thanksgiving and mac and cheese. I've been to enough Thanksgivings where mac and cheese has been served, thank you very much. And I can tell you, it's overrated as hell. Because a lot of the people that think they can really make a bomb-ass mac and cheese certainly cannot, especially in the volume that they make it for Thanksgiving. To which I'm going to get lots of raging comments. How dare you say that about my mama's mac and cheese? I guarantee it's bullshit. The turkey's bullshit. Just saying. Anyways, enough about my Thanksgiving rant. Now you can go back to actually enjoying food that you actually like and not having to be bothered with family or in particular in-laws that you really don't like. I mean, why would you want to do that anyways? On to Bears football! Nothing says holiday tidings like another Sunday of 3 hours of Bears football. Am I right? Am I right? Of course I'm right. In this Sunday's matchup, you've got the Bears taking on the Jets. One of those matchups at the beginning of the season or before the season, Bears fans would have looked at and said, well, there's probably a win there. Yeah, how are we thinking about that now? Because the Bears are sitting at 3-8 in last place in the NFC North, which, okay, whatever. Like I said, wins and losses to me this year are secondary in nature and importance. And they're sitting currently, at least currently through 11 weeks, they're sitting at the third overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, which, isn't bad. Again, that also has not been my primary motivating factor for this season because I've started to come to realize that draft position, specifically in round one, isn't nearly as important as we sometimes make it out to be. It just isn't. And probably as we get into draft season, I will do videos talking about some draft myths, and that will be one of them about the tanking and the importance of getting that top pick. And the reality is, it's not nearly as important as people like to make it out to believe it to be. So anyways, you look at this Bears team, and in recent weeks, their offense has done better at scoring points. They've still lost their last 4 games, obviously, because they would sit there and wait for Justin Fields to make something happen with his feet, wait for him to make something happen with his feet, and then late in the game, when they needed the passing game to be able to make some plays, to be able to win, they couldn't get the job done. Now, that's how you sum it up. That's what happened ultimately in the 27-24 loss to the Falcons last Sunday. The defense wasn't great, certainly not, but they made a stop when they needed to, and the Bears got the ball back, chance to tie or win the game late, and, 2 design runs with a clearly less than 100% Justin Fields, and then a pass on third down that was picked off, and it's game over. So there you go. So, yes, the Bears' offense has been able to score more points in recent weeks, but to me, it still feels like it's a bit of fool's gold. Call me a hater if you want. But now you get to the really big question that's on the minds of all Bears fans of Justin Fields' shoulder, his health, and his status for the game on Sunday. And you got a number of people that are saying he shouldn't play. And I totally get it. I totally understand it. Because you're saying it's a lost season anyways. If you throw Justin Fields out there and he takes one hit that isn't great, then you go from it being one type of shoulder injury to an entirely different type of shoulder injury, even if it is the non-throwing shoulder. Do you really want to take that chance in what is already a lost season? Do you want to potentially, damage this guy permanently? I won't say permanently, but more long-term. It's a fair question. Hey, what if he goes out there against a good Jets defense and he gets hurt and he gets some type of more serious injury that potentially puts some of his status for 2023 into question? Fair points. And you've got some that are thinking that he should play. Hey, if he is relatively healthy enough to play, he's got to play. You can't baby the young man forever. You can't sit there 2 years from now and say, hey, he's a little dinged up, so let's not play him because it's a lost season. The number one ability that any starting quarterback can have is the ability of availability. And it was a bit of a problem for Justin Fields last year, not a huge one, but, he didn't make every start he was supposed to, in part because of injury. And you're looking down the barrel of that happening again this year. That stuff does matter. As far as what camp I'm in, I'm a little bit more in the he probably shouldn't play, if for no other reason than take a week off and bring him back to beat the Packers. Because, as I've talked about before, the only game that I care about them actually winning the rest of the year is the Green Bay Packers on Sunday, December 4th. That's the game they've got to win. That's the game that represents and means something. That's the game that you've got to be able to make a statement. And you're going to say, well, it's against Rodgers and a diminished Packers team, and frankly, a diminished Rodgers. That's true. But right now at this point, if there's one game you're going to win the rest of the year, lose it all if you want. But that's the game you've got to win. And you want Justin Fields healthy for that one. Now, if you say, well, you should just sit him the rest of the year. No, you fucking shouldn't. That's stupid. If he is relatively healthy enough to play, at some point he needs to play again because you're losing valuable live game experience for him. Now, there is a bit of a risk here. Let's say you start Trevor Siemian, and sure, you're not going to be nearly as dynamic of a running team, but what happens if you're a better passing team? Then it will destroy some of the narratives around the offensive line and the lack of talent at receiver. I don't anticipate that would happen here necessarily. We are talking about Trevor Siemian after all. But there is that risk. Like, what if that does happen? What do you do? And the answer is, as soon as he's ready, you start Justin Fields again and you don't worry about it. But I get all the people that are saying that he shouldn't play or he should play. Like I said, I lean a little bit more towards he shouldn't. I wonder if the Bears are just trying to keep the Jets off balance and get them to prepare for Justin Fields, and then they have to prepare, ultimately to play for Trevor Siemian instead on Sunday. That's where I feel like they're leaning, but I could be wrong come Sunday. Meanwhile, for the Jets, they're sitting at 6-4, and they're in the AFC playoff picture in third place in the AFC East, coming off of a 10-3 loss to the Patriots last Sunday, where their defense certainly got the job done. Their defense only gave up 3 points. It was the special teams that gave up the late punt return that sealed the deal for the victory for the Patriots. And this Jets team, kind of their MO this year is outside of like beating Buffalo, they're beating the bad teams like the Green Bays, Denver, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. The Bears are a bad team, so that bodes well for them. And what may bode well for the Jets right now is that they've benched Zach Wilson, and Mike White's going to be the starter. And I will say, I sure as fuck look wrong about Zach Wilson at this point. It's not over, but it ain't looking good. And the concern to me is like, it's one thing if you struggle with your play and you make some bad decisions and so forth. It's the lack of accountability, the lack of leadership shown. That to me is the biggest concern of all. When you're asked by the media, do you feel guilty or like, do you feel responsible? Do you feel like you owe the defense an apology? And you say no. The answer should always be yes. I should have played better. It all starts with me. I'm supposed to be the leader. I sucked, so therefore we sucked. It all starts with me. And when I saw him say that last Sunday, I said, oh God. Some of the character concerns about his maturity, about his willingness to take responsibility and accountability, coming out into the draft, they're there. That's where it manifests. That concerns me and bothers me quite a bit about the young man, frankly. I don't think it's time to give up on him fully, but he hasn't even made it through his second season. He's already getting benched for Mike White. Not a good sign. I understand why the Jets are doing this with some respect, because they're sitting there and they're saying, hey, we got a chance to make the playoffs and we feel like Zach needs to take some time back. And I say, you're still missing the plot. It is much better to play Zach Wilson another 6 games. And if you find out he truly sucks and he truly isn't the guy, 'tis better to know that sooner rather than later. Because it's not like he's had an overwhelming number of starts in his 2 seasons. You figure he missed some time this year with an injury, knee injury. He missed some time last year with an injury. So, probably should have just kept playing him. It's part of the benefit of having a really good defense is it buys you time to develop the young quarterback. So personally, I feel like the Jets organization is kind of screwing the pooch here. And not the best way to handle a young quarterback, my opinion. Although I get it and I understand it. The Jets are favored by 6 heading into this matchup, and I certainly understand there's probably a bit of a boost from saying Zach Wilson isn't the starter, so anybody but Zach is probably better for the Jets, and that may actually be true right now. Meanwhile, the Bears, a lot of people looking at it and say, yeah, Trevor Siemian might be playing, and he's not the better guy compared to Justin Fields. And that may be true as well. We'll see what type of offensive performance we get on Sunday. It certainly feels like we're going to be more likely to get some good old-fashioned Bears football! Because I'm thinking it's something like Jets 20, Bears 13. Buckle up, bitches, because it's going to be a boring ride come Sunday.